Let me now get you the latest update that's coming in from Pakistan. So of the 450 plus passengers on board this train, the Baloch fighters are reported to have released all the women, all the children, and all Baloch nationals who had their identity cards. We are told 214, that's the number that the Baloch Liberation Army is giving. 214 Pakistan Army personnel, some are putting the number even higher, are still being held hostage. There are also reports that say, as of now, 30 Pakistan Army personnel have been killed. But these are reports that are coming in. Pakistan Army has mounted aerial operations, but there are reports that one drone has been downed. Joining me now on this special broadcast is Mona Alam, a senior journalist from Pakistan. Professor Brahma Chilani is a very well-respected strategic affairs analyst who's been tracking Pakistan, Afghanistan, this region very closely. Mehran Mari is a respected Baloch activist joining us on the broadcast. Mona, how bad is the situation? What is the Pakistani media reporting about this?
Thank you, Gaurav, for putting this at priority because, this is a serious situation. I think, obviously, it's just not the right thing. And I think it's quite bad. It's quite ridiculous to call them freedom fighters because freedom fighters are brave people. Had they been freedom fighters, they would have been fighting our army and, the armed men in the open under broad daylight. But unfortunately, they've again resorted to the same cowardly acts. It has almost become a regularized, hypocritic, and a cowardly feature of the BLA to target women and children. And I mean, as far as my reports are concerned, because we are here on ground, we are getting our direct correspondence from Balochistan only, where this incident has actually happened. And what we are told so far is the fact that they've kept women and children hostages. And this is why the army is taking a very cautious approach when it's trying to go ahead with the clearance operation. The clearance operation is, as we speak, is underway. And obviously, they're very cautious because this is the same BLA which has been using women and children as human bombs, and they've always been using them as human shields. This is what
Let
they're
me
doing
get
even
Mehran.
today, and unfortunately, this is why we are just cautious. Otherwise, had it not been for women and children, we would have taken them straight away, hands down. I mean, I don't have any qualms about that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Mehran Mari, what can you tell us about the operations that the BLA has undertaken? We've just seen a report that says the Majid Brigade has 214 Pakistan Army personnel who are being held hostage and they'd be killed if a military operation is mounted.
Well, the lady gets her information from the ISPR, obviously. And they said 250 women are there. So obviously Pakistan Army, I qualify them as women because they are cowards. They never fight regular Baloch fighters. They always attack women and children. So she's speaking on behalf of the Pakistan Army. I think they targeted Pakistani Army personnel intelligence agents. They released the women for correction of the record. And the Pakistani personnel have been held by them. I don't see how that is cowardly.
What a blatant lie.
Hide from Baloch fighters. I mean, isn't that coward? I mean, I don't understand how you define coward.
Then the BLA should be fighting the same men. They shouldn't be targeting women and children. Isn't the BLA filming women in obscene videos and then blackmailing them and then asking them to become human bombs and attack different areas, different people, different targets? Isn't this what BLA has been doing since day one?
Your ISPR propaganda mechanism is
No,
quite
that's not
diverse
ISPR
and it's
propaganda.
quite
I'm a journalist. I get my own.
There is no
feedback.
journalists in
That's
Pakistan. Pakistan has no journalists. Everybody works for the military. If they don't,
That's
they
not
do not.
true.
That is absolutely true. Your media is not showing anything about what's happening in Balochistan.
We may not be showing anything because we don't want to create a panic situation here because the clearance operation is underway as we speak.
There is no operation underway.
Give me a moment as I bring in Professor Brahma Chilani to try and make sense of what's happening on ground. So perhaps, we have a fair idea of the sentiments in Balochistan and in Pakistan. But Professor Brahma Chilani, does this appear to be a massive change in tactics of the Baloch Liberation Army? Instead of a standoff attack or a hit and run, this seems to be, they seem to be better armed, they have better intelligence, better training and tactics, and they seem to be engaging the Pakistan Army. The point where the offense took place, offensive action, and the derailing of the train inside the tunnel, what does this indicate, Professor Chilani?
The train ambush clearly is a major development because the Baloch separatists had prior information that the train was carrying many Pakistani soldiers. So its ambush was a major development, a major success for the Baloch separatists. But look at the larger irony, Gaurav. The Pakistani state, a long-standing state sponsor of terrorism, is getting a taste of its own medicine. Pakistan's neighbors all agree on one thing, that the Pakistani state, through its powerful military and the military's rogue ISI agency, has been sponsoring cross-border terrorism against its neighbors. But the Baloch problem persists for Pakistan because of several important factors. First is the forced accession of Balochistan in 1948, then the marginalization of Balochistan. Balochistan has been marginalized and neglected by the central government, leading to feelings of underrepresentation and exploitation. Pakistan talks about addressing the root causes of the conflict in Kashmir, but it's unable to address the root causes of the Baloch conflict.
Yes.
It needs to address the historical grievances, the political and economic marginalization of the Baloch, and the human rights abuses that are rampant in Balochistan.
And we'll talk
then,
about that. Yes, we'll talk
Only
about that in
then.
greater detail, because the situation now is so precarious that political leaders within Pakistan, Mona, are saying that there are multiple districts in Balochistan no longer in the control of the Pakistani security forces. Take Fazlur Rahman, for example. He recently said that there are 6 to 7 to 8 districts in Balochistan no longer in control of Pakistani forces. Prophetic words coming true within weeks. Mona, before I come to you, just listen in to Maulana Fazlur Rahman.
बलूचिस्तान के 5 से 7 अजला इस पोजीशन में हैं कि अगर वो आज़ादी का ऐलान कर दें तो अगले दिन अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा में उनकी दरख्वास्त को कबूल कर लिया जाएगा और पाकिस्तान को तक़सीम तस्वुर किया जाएगा.
Mona, what's the situation? Is it as bad as Maulana Fazlur Rahman? And apparently he's not the only one. There are other leaders, including senior political leaders in Pakistan, who've said the situation in Balochistan is so precarious that Pakistan army no longer has any control there.
Well, easier said than done, but when we talk about neglecting Balochistan and not giving them their due share, given the kind of resourceful province that Balochistan is, it is indeed the most resourceful province. And of course, the public of Balochistan expects the same kind of reciprocation in terms of what they are getting as the state's own resources being spent on them. This is a very fair argument, and we've been contesting this argument, I think, by very fair means since past many decades. A lot of governments have come in, they've tried, a lot of establishment heads have come in, they've tried their best. Obviously, I do not deny this. This is a factual position. Balochistan needs a fair hearing. Balochistan needs its fair share of representation. It needs its fair share of resources being spent, resources which are coming in from Balochistan. Of course, Balochistan should be
Balochistan
prioritized.
needs nothing from you.
Okay. I want
Beg
to
your pardon?
understand that from you.
No,
I
yeah,
want to understand that from you,
I'm trying to
Mehran
say
Mari.
that
So
I
let's keep
check
this
in the
conversational.
situation.
Mehran Mari,
Sure.
why are these words not soothing for people of Balochistan?
Balochistan is not a beggar. Pakistan is a beggar. We do not want any handouts from Pakistan. Balochistan needs this, that, or the other. We don't need anything from you. We want you out. We have everything to sustain ourselves and prosper. So we don't want any Punjabi to feel sorry for us. We will give them their fair share. We'll give them a fair share of the resources or their rights. We don't need anything from you. All we need you is out. And that second you understand this clear and loud message from the Baloch nation, the sooner the problem will be solved. So do not feel sorry
But
for
Mehran
us.
Mari, before I bring in Mona Alam to respond to this and Professor Brahmachalani, I want to understand from you, Mehran Mari, Pakistan is a nuclear weapons state. It has a very strong army. So can a ragtag, bunch of people fight the all-powerful Pakistan army and the ISI?
The Baloch nation is not a ragtag bunch of people, as Musharraf or unfortunately you saying it. Baloch is a nation. It knows how to defend itself. It might not have credible or strong friends at present. But if countries like Ukraine can fight Russia with the help of other people, we will find friends in the international community. If Pakistan is so arrogant on the basis of China as being its big brother or its I don't know, husband or whatever you want to call it, because it always finds somebody to protect it. We're not scared of China or Pakistan. Baloch knows how to defend itself, and we're not ragtag bunch of people. We are a nation, and we will defend our rights and our nation.
Okay, and Mona, before I bring in Professor Chilani, is there a cause for serious concern considering, the Baloch fighters are not night blind. They have access to night vision devices, thermal imagers. They have the latest carbines, a lot of ammunition and arms that were in Afghanistan through TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And with TTP, it's a very potent force that's actually pushed the Pakistan army on the back foot in Balochistan and TTP in KPK.
Look, I do not have any doubts on their weapons and their might and their might regarding the kind of weaponry or the kind of ammunition that they have. But obviously, all reptiles have come together against Pakistan. I have no qualms and no doubts about this. It's not a Punjabi. It's not a Punjabi who's sympathizing with Balochistan. This is a proud Pakhtun woman whom you're talking to. I'm a Durrani. I hail from Quetta. My paternal house is still very much in Quetta. I'm not an absconder. I'm not somebody on self-imposed exile. My family still very much resides in Quetta, and I very much know the situation out there. This is why I'm voicing out for the rights
and
of...
Sarfaraz Bukti is a Bukti as well. The
He
biggest
is a
tout.
Bukti. He is a Bukti. He is a Bukti.
But they're
Yes.
touts. That does not make him a Baloch.
No,
A
look,
tout
you
is a tout is a tout.
you cannot have good and bad Baloch. This is a
You can,
bad
you can.
bifurcation. I'm sorry. This is
Yes,
a bad
the
bifurcation.
traitors are
I
bad
do.
Baloch.
You know
Baloch who
what?
works for
I'll
the
tell you.
Punjabis
You know,
are bad
I'm
Baloch.
surprised,
This is-
Professor
this is-
Chilani,
this is
for
where
a
the problem
Pakistan
is.
that
This is
always
where the
made a
problem
is.
distinction.
A
A
traitor
lot of
is a bad
politicians
Baloch.
come in from Balochistan. Even the former caretaker prime minister was from Balochistan. Former chief
All
justice was from
traitors,
Balochistan.
all traitors,
But
all
I
work for
want
the
to bring in
Punjabi
Professor
establishment.
Chilani. I know the pain. I can
All
understand the
puppets.
agony of
no, you can call
Balochistan
them
and
puppet
Pakistan
who
at this
aren't you a
stage.
puppet to
But
some foreign powers. You're a
But
puppet
I am
I
to
not
want
a
to
right?
puppet
bring
of
in
And
any
Professor
it's
power.
Chilani.
I am a
On
proud
India
Baloch
First, we do not
who's
have
struggling
two
for the
to
rights
but
of my
Professor
country.
Chilani,
Puppet of
Professor
anyone.
Chilani, Pakistan says you can't have a good Baloch and a bad Baloch, but Pakistan has good terrorists and bad terrorists. The kind of weapons and systems that Baloch fighters have, is Pakistan army on the back foot, sir?
It is clearly, Gaurav,
Excuse me.
because the Baloch problem is just one of the internal problems that Pakistan faces. There is Pashtun discontent, there is Sindhi discontent, there is unrest in the northern areas. Where is Pakistan at peace within its borders? Where? This is the reality of Pakistan today. And the Baloch problem, the insurgency and violence there are directly linked to the instability and underdevelopment and to the exploitation of Balochistan. And let's not forget the human rights abuses. The
Yes.
conflict has led to widespread human rights abuses, including enforced disappearance, extrajudicial killings, and torture. There is no.
So what is the
there's
end
no
game that
freedom.
you see? Is Balochistan today Bangladesh 2.0? How long for that? Or can Pakistan stem the rot?
I think the Baloch problem will continue to haunt Pakistan, and this issue can only be addressed by addressing the root causes of this problem. And the problem is that the establishment in Pakistan, by that I mean the military establishment, refuses to read the writing on the wall.
The establishment in Pakistan right now has an immediate problem, and that's 200 plus hostages inside that tunnel number 8 near Bolan Pass. And remember, if you go back in history, Bolan Pass was quite a nightmare even for the British Army when they went for the Afghan campaign. Mona Alam, Mehran Mari and Professor Brahmachalani for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. We are tracking the story very, very closely.